Hello, I am Jack Smirking Revenge here with Blockhawk. Sorry we took so long to get here. We were having severe technical difficulties trying to figure out what we think is actually a very cool thing that we've put together. So let's talk about Crossfire. If you guys have been fans of the blog or read it in the past, Crossfire was an article where we talked to two developers who developed similar games. And we would just talk about the differences in development strategies, the different kind of things they did different. Bleh. That was kind of a weird sentence. And we want to up the amount of video content that we bring to you. That's why we have this great set. And speaking to that effect, we decided that Crossfire would be a really cool thing to try to do on video. So if Screamy could bring up our super spiffy brand new interface.
Pew! Why was that sound effect?
I don't know. I can't even see it, so I'm hoping that it looks good. And we have loleris doing a Crossfire with CloneTrooper1019. Now here's the thing. We're having some last minute sound issues, so if you're having difficulty hearing, we would recommend that you turn your speakers up all the way. We will iron out these sound issues, but just turn your speakers up all the way and you should be good to go. This Crossfire should be really exciting. I'm going to put my headphones on and I will be conducting the interview. Andrew will be playing some of the games because they're awesome. We'll be intercutting between them speaking and their games on the screen. And let's get this interview started. I hope you enjoy it. And one last thing, stick around to the end because at the ending portion of the interview, we want you to interview these developers as much as we want to interview these developers. So at the very end, I'm going to start digging through the chat. Think of questions that you want to ask loleris, think of questions that you want to ask Clone Trooper, and we will do their best to answer those live on air.
And specifically, we're talking about murder today, because these guys both
We're talking murder.
Murder games, and they both want to talk about what they've done, which is awesome.
And heinous at the same time.
Yeah. So thanks for being with us, dudes.
Hey guys.
Hey.
Hey, yes sir, Roblox says Lithuania represent. Nice.
Okay.
So this isn't the first time you guys have talked. I've come to understand that you guys actually have somewhat of a friendly competition going on. Would that be correct? Clone Trooper, why don't you answer that one first?
Yeah, we became friends after we did that crossfire between the Stalker and Darkness. So yeah, we've just been talking to each other. We're both busy guys. If we talk to each other at all, it's just like every now and then. We've been talking a lot recently, because we've been preparing for this crossfire. We've been, coming up to all this stuff, and we're gonna have a lot of fun here today, I guess.
Yeah, I'm hoping so too. And loleris, how does this sort of dynamic? You guys are friends, but you're making competing games. How does that drive you in any way to work even harder?
Well, yes, kind of, because you can see others making games of the same time, and you can see what issues they have, and you can actually even learn from them. It's easy when a couple of people are making the same game.
Hey loleris, can you give an example of did you something you learned from Nicholas or Clone Trooper's murder games that sort of came out before yours? Is there a specific thing that you did your way because of that?
Yes. First of all, I looked into making my characters look all different.
Uh-huh.
Yes, the Nicholas game, all the characters do have different colors, but they have the same design of their logo.
Yeah, so I definitely noticed that in your game, every name corresponds to a look, right?
Yeah, I'm looking at Gordon Freeman right now, which is awesome.
Yeah, very cool references in there. Hey, we were wondering, speaking to that effect, about we asked about the Dominus. Is it difficult to put a Dominus in an actual game when you're developing it? How does that work?
Well, there is one value in your player object, which decides what is your character wearing whenever you spawn. So I only have to change that value, and my character spawns with all the hats another player is wearing. That's how I get the Dominus.
Very cool, very cool. So let's talk about visual aesthetics, because gameplay-wise, we're dealing with something that's very similar. But Clone Trooper in particular, I've always liked this about your games. It's there are certain developers, when they make a game, it's unmistakably theirs. Like, you see that map, you see the way it was built, the way the textures are laid out, and you're like, that's definitely Clone Trooper. So, being as young as you are too, like how can you speak on sort of developing like a unified visual aesthetic?
Just getting all these pieces together in order to work better in the long run, it takes a lot of work, and I put a lot of time into Murder, making sure that if I was going to be updating this game over time and I was going to go through with this whole project thing, I wanted to make it as realistic and as close to the original game mode as possible. So as soon as I got the game mode mirrored, then I could creatively expand on it, similar to how I did to the soccer, because the soccer was also based on a Gears mod game mode originally, and I just made my own changes as I pleased, I guess. So yeah.
So the Stalker has a lot of maps. So I guess the first question I'd want to follow up with is there going to be other maps in Murder? I mean, aside from that wonderfully detailed house you have, there's so much to explore, lots of like hidden details and stuff. But are you planning on expanding the maps in your games?
As I mentioned in that blog interview I did the other day, I'm currently concepting this whole universe thing for Murder, where I'm going to transform Murder into a whole universe place where you can have we'll have an item system, and so basically every map will be divided into a place basically, and you can select whatever map you want to play, and when there's an item system introduced and stuff, the item will transfer over to there, and you can basically just control how you want to play the game. You can actually, I'm thinking about adding matchmaking, so you can play with your friends. You won't get you won't have trouble getting to a server and stuff like that.
Cool. So you plan on utilizing universes then?
Yeah, I haven't played with them too much yet, but I'm gonna give it a try. So.
Okay, so loleris, what's in store for the future with Mad Murder?
We're working on.
I think I saw a third level. Did I see a third level today?
Actually, we have a fourth one.
Oh, fourth one. So you're developing really quick.
Yes, I'm checking through my emails, my personal messages, every single one. I'm checking for good maps which I can add to the Mad Murder.
So you've got like an open call out to anybody who wants to try to submit. Oh, Andrew just knifed a dude in the neck.
Yeah.
And how many maps do you think you need to have until you're ready to say, like, this is a complete project?
There is no specific number. I'm going for how much I'm going to get. It's up to the users.
Clone Trooper, do you do the user-created or player-created maps thing like loleris does?
Yes, but I'm doing it in kind of an unreliable way. I need to change it, I guess. For the Stalker, I was taking map submissions for a while, and eventually I just stopped because I was just getting too many inboxes or too many messages. It was more than I could handle. So, yeah, when you built a map in a Stalker, you would originally just PM me saying Stalker map made, and I would take the model, consider it, and evaluate all that stuff, get it set up, and put it into the game. But it's hard to get to find good maps because not everyone's a great builder. I'm not going to try and offend anyone, but you have to make sure you're just evaluate everything, make sure it'll play out well, depending on just the design of the game overall. I can't talk about it. Yeah, stuff like that.
So I mean, and I wanted to ask about this too. So loleris, people know you as having a game studio, a team of developers that you work together, and I think you were telling me you built this in just over a week. So I think the whole exploring a team dynamic thing is something that I think people are really interested in. So how did you balance out a team? How did you find the ones that you knew you could work best with, and how much does that help when you have an idea for a game?
Well, to be honest, I'm not the best. It's hard to select someone who is really dedicated to the work you do. Although I do have a few members who do a lot for me. Habo guy, for example, he does a lot of textures and decals, while Naruto helped me a lot by making the first map for my Mad Murder game.
So what is your primary contribution to Mad Murderer?
Actually, I script every single thing in the Mad Murder.
Oh wow!
I was the only scripter. Yeah.
Okay, good to know. And I'm just looking at the comments here, and I do want to give a special shout out to Loleris for staying up till, what time is it in Lithuania right now?
The time is horrible.
It's like 2 in the morning or something.
It's 1 or 2.
It's a little better. It's 1 in the morning.
And he was up. I gotta say, he was up till what had to be 4 in the morning yesterday, helping us test this thing. So we really appreciate that, Loleris. Thanks a lot. Shifting gears here, Clone Trooper. Do you primarily work on your own? I mean, like, have you kind of just figured this whole thing out? No?
My brother just Fedora me. Yeah, I work on my own.
You just got Fedora. That's awesome. Sorry. All right, continue.
My brother was playing it the entire time. Anyway, so yes, I do work individually. I considered working on a team, but honestly, just the way I do things, it's very different compared to people. I tend to do things my way. I don't try organizing things. I just do things at work. And as for Murder, just getting the reason it took me so long to develop the game is because I've made this entire engine to get the game running very well in the long run. So although it's a simple game, it's actually very complex on the deep side. It's actually running on the filtering enable property, which prevents players from changing the game from the client. So it's pretty much unexploitable. It's a very safe game. It's a really reliable engine, and I could probably make a lot of games off this stuff. And so I've been considering starting a team. My friend Josh, who you might know as Team 11, we've been talking about it, and we've been considering how we could possibly make it easier for us to collaborate on games, such as creating the system where we could use GitHub and kind of this interesting file system and the HTTP service to generate Roblox files for us, while we can still basically turning a Roblox instance into a folder, basically like a series of folders and stuff like that.
Right. So does this have to do with the multiplayer sort of system that you mentioned you built in the article we did previously?
Yeah.
Okay.
In Murder's case, it's not necessarily an engine, it's more of an infrastructure, because it's not modular or anything, it's more just straightforward code. It's there for what it's there for. But it's easy to modify. I could change it into other things, whatever I needed to. And yeah, it's a very reliable system. I don't need to use a lobby. I can just hide the players wherever I need them to be, I guess.
Very cool, very cool.
You stole my fedora. Oh well. Okay.
And then last thing that I just wanted to touch on briefly, I hadn't played Murder in a while, and I went back into it today, and I noticed that you had added the colored footsteps.
Yeah. The thing behind that is I was actually going to add footsteps in the initial version of Murder, but I was having some performance issues regarding surface GUIs. Murder is pushing the limits of Roblox. I had to make a lot of optimizations to get it running as well as it is today.
You seem to make a habit out of pushing the limits of Roblox. What's with you, man?
It takes, like, what I mean by that is, by pushing the limits, I mean, if I'm, like, doing something inefficiently, it's gonna cause a lot of lag. Just one small thing will cause Murder to start lagging extremely badly, so I have to be very careful with the budget I have, because I've been pushing it very good.
Right.
Especially because of the map, because it's really large. And yeah.
So speaking of gameplay mechanics, and also Loleris, if you could try to avoid typing, it's insanely loud when you type. So that would,
it was quiet.
It's okay. It's just really loud. But
That's
speaking
if
of,
I was typing, but I'm just talking now.
So Loleris, I noticed in your game you allow people to see the chat even if they've been murdered, right?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, so like in Nicholas's murder mystery game, if you die, then people can't see the things that you chat because he wants to.
Oh, it's not true. The chat is separated.
Oh, is it? Okay.
The ones in the lobby and the ones in the game.
Maybe I just didn't think they were, because it doesn't say like dead or deceased or anything. Like the chat just continues. So I was like, I wonder if he decided,
well, Nicholas did it in a way. I did it in another. My chat just doesn't show anyone from the lobby. Even if they're dead.
That's pretty BA, dude. That's like super seamless and stuff.
So should we maybe step back and talk about the murder craze that has hit Roblox.
I mean,
so
it's worth discussing, right?
It's kind of the whole reason why we're here today. Either of you guys can answer this. Start with Loleris. Why do you think murder is like such a thing right now?
Why is it so hot right now?
Probably because of its really fast gameplay. And also because of maybe you haven't noticed, but I really love the feature when you can be, for a change, anonymous in a game. Nobody knows who you are.
Yeah, that's true.
That is somehow really attractive.
It's nice for us too, because nobody knows that we're like Roblox staff, so it's just kind of normal gameplay for the most of the time.
Which is nice. We really enjoy that.
What about you, Clone? Do you have any thoughts on why the murder craze is sweeping Roblox right now?
So the way I see it is that because of Nicholas' success and how simple the game concept is, you can imagine that a lot of people will be attempting to create it. I mean, me, Nicholas, and Loleris, we're not the only ones who created a murder game. I saw a few others, but I think they got shot down just because we're kind of the whole main thing right now. I see it as kind of like a trend, similar to how, back in the old days, tycoons and hobbies used to be all over the place, and just the thing that we have to consider here is that we have to be changing it to make our games unique, and if we don't, then things are going to get boring very fast, and it's going to come the same thing over and over. So we're putting our own creative twist on it. We're going to be following this road. We're going to see what goes down.
What would you?
It's going to be a very interesting next few months.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
So what do you think is like the trademark of your version of murder? What's your creative twist that you added?
For the most part, I've just been changing minor things, I guess. I wish I could name a few off the back, because
for yours,
I've added achievements. I've added the game passes. The footprints have sounds. There's no fall damage in my version currently because not because of technical issues. I just decided it wouldn't be worth it.
One thing
after a while.
One thing we've always liked in your version is the being able to just manipulate the lighting, which is no one else has that. So people are turning off lights and making it dark, which you can use strategically. I thought that was a cool thing that you implemented in your version.
It's actually based on the original Clue map from Gary's mod. The Clue map was originally for a game mode called Trouble in Terrorist Town, which is similar to Murder, but it's plays around Counter-Strike characters and weapons and stuff, more weapons.
Right.
So that was unique to the map. When I have more maps of Murder with the Universe update, that's probably not going to be available, although the cheese might be available in other maps, like hidden in different areas.
Right.
That's the cheese I had. Yeah.
Well, Laris, is there a certain thing? I know you mentioned the new character looks in your game, which are awesome, but do you feel like you added something to the formula other than that maybe kind of sets yours apart from your competitors?
Well, there are small things like my shop. People tell me it looks really well, and others say that it's the best thing they ever saw. Also, my game features two sounds: the sound of the round starting and the sound of the round ending. But people tell Loleris game is full of sounds for some reason.
So it sounds. Are you thinking about dabbling more in sounds? Because we've got clone.
No, because when you add too many sounds, people say, Loleris, why are you adding so many sounds? I want to listen to my music.
I see.
So Clone Trooper, you obviously have a different take on that because your game is chock full of sounds. You've got all the audio bits, and you can use the communication thing. So what's your take on adding sounds in games?
A lot of the sounds are ripped out of Half-Life 2 from the original Gary's Mod game mode. The main thing that I've been changing is just more effects, because Gary's Mod is slightly limited because they have a lot of API that you have to work with, and a lot of it's like GUIs are pretty hacky as it is because you're setting pixels instead of just having a bunch of elements that you can work with in a hierarchy.
Right.
So I added more visual effects. Basically, I've been just expanding stuff like that. As for example, like the knife throwing sound, that wasn't from the original Charisma game mode. I actually snagged that from a friend of mine named Aurus because I thought it sounded pretty good, and especially the crit sound that you hear when you throw a knife at someone or backstab them. That was a modified version of the stab sound, and that wasn't in the Murder GMI game mode either. Yeah, I've been making a lot of changes, and I'm hoping to make it very interesting to have sounds in the game. Yeah.
Cool. Should we talk at all about? I know Loleris mentioned his shop. Maybe about the idea of selling items
so you both are like perfect examples of utilizing the services that we've released lately to really help monetize your games. I mean, I guess
My brother's
just
coming to photobomb me again.
no, your brother's been photobombing you, dude.
I'm just gonna put this out here because this is gonna make him mad. His username is Mustachic, Mustachtic, I think. Go stalk his profile.
Go stalk his.
Mad about it later.
What is he doing?
Quit photobombing me, thank you. Wait, where were we, Lowers?
We're talking about.
We're talking about the shop inside your guys' games. What advice would you give to somebody? Yeah, your brother. You should stick your foot out and trip him or something, man.
When I got home, I told him you should co fedora me just like you guys did to Stickmaster Luke that one year. It was the virtual blast round. Someone put a fedora on him. He said,
"Oh yes, yeah. That's where it all started."
That was actually me. That was me.
I didn't expect him to do that much, though. Like, he's probably laughing so much of his friends upstairs.
He's like dancing around with a skeleton mask on or something.
Okay, anyways, we're getting off topic. Let's continue.
All good. This is the most on topic Andrew and I have ever been in any video way ever. So, but it's about the little things, right?
This is typical stuff, you guys. When we're not on camera. Yeah.
So we were talking about implementing a shop, right? And I mean, there's a whole art behind that, and giving people incentive to buy and incentive to do different things. What are your kind of strategies when you're thinking like, all right, I've got this game, I want to make a store, I want it to monetize. Like, where do you start there? And let's pitch that to Loleris first.
Can you tell it in a simpler way? My brain didn't catch it all.
They're asking how you're thinking about designing the shop or something like that.
Yeah, what's your, you're clearly earning a decent amount off of the Mad Murder, I would think. I'm not sure, but what's your strategy for creating a shop that works? What kind of stuff do you sell that has worked out really well for you?
Okay. Sorry, it's really late and I'm slow. Okay.
That's all right.
And you didn't sleep all last night because we were bugging you about this, so we totally understand.
Stay strong, buddy. Stay strong.
I had to wake up early for a conference, so thanks a lot, Roblox.
Such a good
No,
influence.
thank you.
Well, when I start a shop, I think about making it simple. You have to show all the main options in whenever a person clicks on a shop, you have to show all the options they must know, they must see.
Uh-huh.
So when you open up my shop, you can quickly buy credits from me or select your special ability as the murderer. Well, I use neon colors, which are very contrasting in a black background. Well, there's a lot of things I use in my shop. It's just too hard to say to talk about everything I use in my shop.
No, but totally, even just the visual incentive of a high contrast image to a black back. I mean, you see it and you're just like, oh, what is that? You know what I mean? Like immediately. So I think I understand where you're coming from there.
What kind of item, if you know by now, like what's the best type of item you've got in your murder game right now? What do people buy the most?
I do not know. I didn't ask, but my favorite ability is the shapeshifter.
What does that do?
Shapeshifter.
The shapeshifter. Look it up. It's an ability.
So,
It's an ability for around 100 credits. I do not know. It's 10 Robux for a round. Not that expensive.
Okay.
We're gonna have to check that out later.
And as the murderer, if somebody finds out who you are, you can go somewhere in a spot where nobody sees you, and you can change your character completely. Everyone
cool.
sees you as another character.
Nice.
That is really cool.
cool.
Tricky. Clone, do you do any sort of sales through your murder game?
At the moment, it's only a game pass. There are only 2 game passes right now. The 3x chance, which actually adds your name to the list of getting the list, the Quayu list, like or Q list.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then the faster reload, which makes your gun reload faster. It's kind of self-explanatory.
Mhm.
I'm still thinking about a long-term or a better long-term design shop that I could use. It's pretty tricky because I have a lot of item ideas, such as outfits to wear, hats to wear, which will actually go on top of your hair. Like when you buy a hat in Murder, when they're released, they will actually work with the randomized characters, and as well I'll have the color changeable outfits that go with the random characters, and I'll also have weapon skins, which I think Nicholas did, but he added perks with them, like the bacon dagger that Stickmaster Luke has not made yet. That will be there probably. Yeah, stuff like that. I mean, it's a lot of ideas. I can't really go into details about them because I have to just get them done before I can really expand upon the base ideas that I have.
Yeah. Have either of you guys been using developer products in your murder games?
That's the plan for me, actually.
Yeah.
Murder will have some kind of currency. I haven't decided how that'll work. It might work similar to how Roblox Battle does it, where if you kill someone, it drops cash, or if you do certain things, it'll give you cash.
Yeah, that's
and
cool.
You can spend that cash in the store to buy items.
Yeah.
As well as buying cash with the developer products in Roblox.
Yeah.
I also might add like options that buy items directly using a developer product.
Mm-hmm.
Like say you go onto an items page, and instead of going back and buying cash, you can just buy for Robux right there.
Right.
Stuff like that.
Yep. How about you, Loleris? Are you using developer products in the Mad Murderer?
Well, I'm saying goodbye to game passes.
Oh yeah.
Can you expand on that?
Are there any game passes?
What?
Do you have any game passes right now, or are you all developer product?
The Mad Murderer does not have any game passes, and it probably won't have any.
And so, are you finding developer products to be the more lucrative of the monetization options?
Because I can offer cheaper abilities on my game, while they are not long-term abilities.
Uh-huh.
So you buy an ability for once for a really cheap price, and that's a lot cheaper than a game pass.
Right. Yeah. So we're like going back and forth between your games here. We're playing both of them on and off. I'm noticing like Loleris, your game has a much brighter and sort of happy vibe to it, whereas Clone Troopers is pretty dark and kind of spooky. So was that an intentional thing on your part to go with like this sort of contrast of people murdering each other
to this like bright and cheerful environment?
In kind of a bright environment?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I thought that the majority of people on Roblox, well, they're kind of children. The average user of Roblox is a child. Well, somewhere.
We were
a child, and I think they want something bright. They do not want something scary.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Clone
So
Troop.
that's my opinion.
Okay, Clone Trooper, did you decide to go with more of the spooky atmosphere for any particular reason?
We were actually debating about the whole kids do not like spooky environments. Like, I've seen Barry Ghost playing with his kids, and they're having a blast with my game. They don't see any problem with it, So what my argument is that as long as you have good gameplay and action, then and as long as you tell them how to not be so scared, you have a light, and I mean it's Roblox. It's not that easy to get scared, but
how does it How does it feel?
I just don't like. I'm sorry.
Go. No, you finish your thought.
We knew this would happen.
I just don't like the idea that not all kids are. I don't want people to assume that they just like a bunch of colory fun games. I like to think that if you have an action-filled game on Roblox, that they will enjoy too. That any game that you put on there that has a lot of effort and a lot of just good stuff in general, will get more players. Yeah.
Cool. I feel like I just lost whatever my next thought was going to be.
Well, I got a good one if we can
Okay.
jump in. So, what we did in the written articles, I don't know, it's been a while since we've actually done a Crossfire article, but for a while we were doing them like every other week. I mean, we were talking to as many developers as we could, so it's great to be doing this on camera, you know, in sort of this more organic way. But a question we always asked was, what's one thing that you like about the other developer's game, and what's one thing that if you could, you would improve about the other developer's game? And Loleris, I'm going to pitch that to you first.
Well, what I like about Murder is
Awkward.
I would do the same thing. We haven't had those games. We're very busy people.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't know. That's fair. I mean,
In fact, I just actually jumped into his game.
well, Clone's game
That's
does
what you have
feel.
to say.
Yeah, Clone's game does feel a little more professional, and his dedication to his job really is visible on his game. We can see features pretty polished when they are released.
Yeah.
Though I would add a lot to his game. That's the only thing I can say.
what would be like? Is there one thing you would add? That
or the top three.
or top one even.
I did the European three for you. See that? Top
You
three.
can't.
Oh yeah. I'm still like learning how this works.
I'll say this: Clone is adding things a little too slow.
Oh, Crossfire.
Hashtag you're too slow.
I like it.
All right. No hard feelings, no.
I
Yeah.
take my time on things.
That's one way to look at
Make
it.
sure
right?
that everything's perfected and polished up, and that's the idea of Murder. I wanted to make sure that when I release this game, it would be a very high quality game and it truly demonstrate the next level of my games. I wanted to change what I did previously, the whole text-based role-playing stuff. Like in a nutshell, my games were previously. I want to create more modern-based multiplayer games and such.
Yeah, I mean, I would say
And
it's
so.
Oh, go ahead.
Murder's just a start. I'm going to be creating plenty of games based on this whole new infrastructure I've created, and as well as rebooting some of my old games. I'm actually thinking of editing Splee from Prop Hunt to run on this brand new engine, and we'll definitely have some very interesting stuff in the future, I guess, for me.
Yeah, I would say, maybe the updates are slower for Murder, but it's definitely very polished, which I think everybody can appreciate. Clone, is there something about Loleris's The Mad Murderer that something you'd love or something that you would change about that?
I like the knife animations, and I like the whole diversity between characters. How they're kind of they're not based on a whole color set, they're actual variety. I think he's going for like a modern approach. Mine is actually based on the Clue movie.
Yeah.
Like, if you've seen that Clue movie, you might recognize that a lot
Okay.
of the rooms in my mansion look forward to that movie.
Yeah, it has a very, very classic look to it, which I like.
So I see he's like going for a futuristic approach, like stuff like that. I've only gotten to play this game for probably 10 minutes maybe, because I've had to work a lot, especially with high school in the way
Yeah.
of other things. So that's actually impacting my game development too, which is why things are slower. But honest, that's why. Yeah. So I'm getting off track here. Yeah, that's it for me. That's it for me. That's it for me.
I want to say we're playing a little Mad Murder right now as we've been talking, and the character kind of like rubbing his blocky finger arm along the blade of the knife as he kind of runs around is an awesome little animation touch.
You know what's crazy, loleris, is I remember, I think this was like a month ago, like I communicate with developers all the time, it's a big part of my job. So both Clone Trooper and I talk a lot just, about what they're up to. And I remember, loleris, you were like, hey dude, check this out, and I followed you into a place, and all it was a base terrain and a hand with a knife. And he's like, look at this knife, and like I was like, cool, and I was like swinging it around and stuff, and he's like, this is gonna be so awesome when it's finished.
The same thing happened with Clone Trooper. Clone Trooper, there was a time back in maybe, I don't know, January, December, where you posted your initial animations for your murder game, and we were at the office. We're like, this is gonna be awesome.
Yeah, like whatever this is gonna be, these knives.
And
are sweet.
all it was some character movement. You can kind of see like the personality of a game coming from like those original ideas. And
Totally.
It totally happened. So, props to both you guys.
The map just before I started programming the game. I think it was just when I finished the map when you guys played it and you were playing with the weapons. Yeah.
Yeah.
It took just getting that stuff into a game. I made sure to be smart about it because I wanted to make it easy to update my game's code. So I made the whole infrastructure. I'm repeating myself over and over. Yeah.
No, it's no problem. Let's talk a bit about that infrastructure. I mean, you mentioned it in the article that we did, and I think it's really cool. You were like, I came up with this new, efficient way of writing code, and it's kind of changed the infrastructure of all my games. I know you worked really hard on doing that. What do you see happening in the future?
It's more of an organization thing. Like, I make some code server side. I hide it in the server script storage service. So yes, the client and server are completely separate. The server is in charge of just controlling the game, spawning everyone, and the client's mostly in charge of the visual effects and just managing everything, like their interactions, their chatting, the camera, badges, just everything in general.
Yes.
Without it, it would probably be a very plain game.
Right.
The interface is a very special part. It's very what's the word I'm looking for? Helpful, I guess.
Right. So, and then loleris, what can you share some plans that you have for Mad Murderer moving forward? I know you're always iterating on your games.
Well, as I tried to say a little earlier, but somebody stopped me. I'm going to add features for the innocent.
You're going to give the innocent something to do.
Yes, people want to buy something for the innocent as well. So we're thinking about it. It's really hard to think of something. If you have any ideas, feel free to send me a personal message.
Send ideas.
And that's not just us, that's to all of you. So that's the point of all this, right? Discussing stuff.
All right, let's if you guys in the viewers have any questions you want to ask these guys, send them in right now. If we'll try to do one for each developer.
This is your chance to ask CloneTrooper1019 or loleris of Mad Studios any question you'd like, and we will fire them back to you guys. And that
says one of the questions they're going to ask me is related to me being fat, because that's what I mostly see in the chat. Yes, I am fat. I get it, bro.
No, they're all haters. Don't worry about it.
They woke up this morning and just drank Haterade.
You're one of the top developers on Roblox, so you're in a good spot.
Let's see. All right, here we go. We got some good ones coming in from Evan Bear 1. He says, "Are you guys going to allow us to delete our games?" Wait, what does that
That's
have
not
to...
a question.
Never mind. Sorry.
Yes.
Okay, Epic Birdie asks,
Sure.
Loleris, are you British?
No.
Okay.
Tough game development questions.
Yeah, sorry.
I am definitely not.
Clone Trooper, when is Spleef 2 coming out?
I wish I could say something about that. Because of the murder, I've been working on that for the past few months.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten much done with that. Same for the Stalker 2, but I mean, yeah, there are plans. I can start working on it as soon as I need to. As soon as school's done for me, I'm going to be getting a lot done because I won't have so many interruptions. I won't have to worry about keeping my grades up, all that stuff.
Yeah, summer.
And so a lot of the work I get done will be during the summer, probably.
Okay, loleris, will you make your in-game points useful?
Actually, they are useful already. They're used for appearing on the leaderboard. There is a leaderboard in the lobby, and you can become one of the top 10 players who have the most points. And actually, what was really funny, I saw Merrily hit the 6th place on the leaderboard, merely was playing my game.
That's awesome.
Nice.
He had over 1,000 points.
Is that good? Is that like top of the leaderboard?
That's pretty much. He had to play my game for at least 3 hours.
Wow.
Something.
Merely playing some games. Here's the question: at Loleris, did you advertise your game? If not, how did you get people to come to it?
I didn't advertise my game.
No.
There was this point where I just added the shop, and I could already set up my developer products and sell the credits in no time. People were playing my game. About 40 players. I have some fans from my past games who check on me, check on my progress. So there are always people who can possibly join my games. And at one point, I thought, let's do this. So